Is your mic button mic on? You can speak. But if you need to turn it off to have a side conversation, you can just click. Interesting. No, it's not going. This is your mic on. It's a private conversation.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's at the appointed time. We will now, Carol, I believe we have a quorum. So we'll call to order the meeting of the December 17th, 2020 meeting of the MAPS 3 Citizens Advisory Board. The item number 2 is the consideration of the approval of the minutes. You've been furnished with copies. Are there questions, additions, or corrections to the minutes? It has been moved by Todd Stone and seconded by Zane Boatwright that we approve the minutes as presented. Please vote. The motion to approve the minutes is passed. That then brings us to item number 3 on the agenda, the MAPS 3 Budget and Obligations Report and Revenue and Expenditures Report. David?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have in your packet the MAPS 3 Revenue and Expenditure Report for the period ending October 31st, 2020. On the revenue side for the month, $157,332. Fiscal year, $648,453. And total program, $835,540,396. On the expenditures side for the month, $1,192,807. Fiscal year, $20,535,206, and total $699,516,451. You also have the budget and obligations report in your packet in its usual form. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those.
Questions or comments for David? It's been moved by Bob Nagel and that we approve and receive the report. Has been seconded by Todd Stone. Further discussion? Vote, please. Cast your vote. Has everyone voted? The report has been received. That brings us to,
Hold on.
oh, they haven't voted.
Where's that on?
Mine shows it's all been voted. So did it pass? Yeah. It is, the report is received. That takes us to item number 4, which has a number of items for consideration today. David, you want to give us item A?
Pardon me. Item A is recommend approval of change order number 34, project M3-C003, MAPS 3 Convention Center, 500 South Robinson Avenue, increase of $138,516, Ward 7. As it says, this is change order number 34. This is for some items that we're trying to wrap up. Completion of the convention center, the south service corridor. If you'll remember walking through if you went to one of the tours that we had out there, there's a corridor that allows them to go from the back of house to the front, and it's somewhat exposed. It's open to the elements. Well, the operator has decided they want to use that for some storage, and whenever you use storage, then you have to start putting fire suppression system in there. So this is to put sprinkler heads in that area. Then the canopy foundation base plate washers. This is for the canopies that'll be on 4th Street. This is some washers that need to be field welded. There's 120 of them. They're $22,000. Additional exit signage. There's 27 additional exit signs. When you think about the size of that building, 27, sounds like a big number, but it's really not in 500,000 square feet. But it's $35,000 to do 27 of these additional exit signs in various locations. And then the biggest item is the street column weld finishing. So the canopies out in the street are made from 2-inch steel that is rolled to become a column. And they get a weld on the back side, but in addition to that, because they're 40 feet tall, they stack, so they have to get welded around this way. We didn't want to look at those welds around the circumference of the column, so we're paying $60,000 for them to grind those welds down. And remember, this column is about 24 inches in diameter, so it's a lot of grinding. You will still see a slight weld on the back side along longitudinally on the column, but the transverse welds will be ground and smooth, so we won't be looking at those. That's all the items on this change order. This comes with the approval from the Convention Center Subcommittee.
Questions or comments? Bob Nalen has moved that we approve it. Is there a second? Michael Adams has seconded it. Is there further discussion? Cast your vote. The motion passed. The resolution for change order number 34 is approved. Item B, David?
Item B is recommend approval of change order number 2 and amendment number 3, projects M3-C010, WC-0979, DC-0303, WC-0970, and PC-0728, Maps 3 South Robinson Avenue, reconstruction and resurfacing, water line replacement and storm sewer relief main, South Robinson Avenue between Oklahoma City Boulevard and I-40, an increase of $12,769.28. Remember that this is a multi-source funded project, and other departments are involved, and there was some concrete storm sewer work that needed to be added on here, so a junction box modification for $12,000, and then there's some concrete panel removement for $180. I just want to point out that this, if you look at the funding sources, this is all funded through Public Works. It's not actually MAPS money, but because it's through our contract, this board is obligated to approve or to oversee that. So,
Questions or comments? David, I have a question for you. Is it because it's not coming out of our money that we're listing which ward it's attributable to? I haven't noticed that over the past many years, that we've always attributed something to a specific ward.
that's a standard procedure for council memos, and the new system that we're using automatically puts that in there.
Okay. Maybe we've been doing it and I just didn't ever.
I can't recall either. Have we, Lisa? No.
Okay. Other questions? All right. It has been moved by Todd Stone and seconded by Zane Boatwright. Is there further discussion? Please cast your vote. It is approved. That brings us to item C, under item 4. David?
Item C is recommend approval of change order number 2, project M3-R008, Maps 3 Whitewater Facility, second floor renovation, 800 Riversport Drive, a decrease of $58,403.20 in Ward 7. So this is the work that we have going on at the Riversport Rapids area. It's specifically the second floor build-out project that we have going on. So there were some structural steel modifications, almost $10,000 in the elevator area. There was a piece of steel that wasn't exactly where it was supposed to be from the last project, sticking out just enough to foul with putting an elevator in there. Probably half an inch, and you know, it's too much. Restroom ceiling replacement, $5,000. The restroom had a hard ceiling and it had to be removed in order to do the work. We couldn't just work around that hard ceiling. The biggest item is a credit for the meeting room ceiling. Conversations with the contractor and the architect came up with a better solution on the ceiling in there, and in order to save $73,000, they put a less expensive ceiling but still gets the same same type effect. So we were able to save that money. So that's why we have a net savings of $58,000. I'll try to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions or comments about a decrease in the budget? All right, it's been moved by Michael Adams that we approve, seconded by Bob Nalen. Is there further discussion? Cast your vote. I'm not seeing the result. Oh, passed, okay. The change order number 2 for the river is passed. That brings us then to item D, David.
Item D is recommend ratifying and approving addendas numbers 1 and 2, project M3-H003C, MAPS 3 Senior Health and Wellness Center number 2, locker room expansion, 4021 South Walker Avenue, awarding contract to L5 Construction LLC, $712,230, and approving contract and bonds. So as it says, this is approval of the contract. We received bids from 5 different construction companies. You can see that tabulated on the memo, and you can see that the bids, with the exception of the highest bid, were very close. Feel very comfortable with the company and the bid, and we're very anxious and excited to get this project rolling, and we're ready to go.
David, how does this compare to what we had estimated for this project?
It's under budget. We were looking at about $750,000 is what our estimate was.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. Further comments? Shall we approve it? Been moved by Michael Adams that we approve it, seconded by Todd Stone. Further discussion? Cast your vote. The motion is passed and it's been adopted. Item E, David.
Item E is recommend ratifying and approving addendum number 1, project M3-T005, MAPS 3 West River Trail realignment, vicinity of West I-40 Service Road, Melvin Young Boulevard, awarding contract to Bishop Construction LLC, $484,233, and approving contracts and bonds. So this is for the repair and realignment of the West River Trail. Remember that we had that large washout a few months back. We received bids. You can see again the 2 close bids and then a very high top one, but we're very, very comfortable with where these bids came in. Our budget was about $500,000, so it came in right where we wanted, and we're ready to go and anxious to get this one going.
Questions or comments?
Tom, I just had a question of David. Are we able to fund this through contingency funds for trails, or what's the funding?
Yeah,
for?
it wasn't actually contingency funds, as we usually refer as contingency funds. This was leftover money from the trails budget.
Okay.
So when Will Rogers came in under budget and Draper Trail came in under budget and the West River Trail came in under budget, we had some additional funds, and we're going to be coming to this body in the coming months for some additional trail projects because of that extra money.
Okay,
I don't
good, thank
want
you.
to call it extra, but that amount that we still have left
Sure.
over.
Thank you.
Great. Further comments or questions? It's been moved by Zane Boatright that we approve it, seconded by Todd Stone. Is there further discussion? Cast your vote. It's been approved. David, item F.
Item F is recommend approval of maintenance bond number 1 and maintenance bond number 2, project M3-P006, WC-0920, MAPS 3 Scissortail Upper Park, 300 Southwest 7th Street, partial acceptance, and placing maintenance bond number 1 into effect, Ward 6. So this is a partial acceptance for the park. There's still some things that we need to get done out there, but we need to get the contractor square with everything he's done, because we've been using the park. The park is good. We just need to keep it open, and that's why we split the bonds. So we've got some fountain work that still needs to happen out there, and we're looking at maybe replacing some trees that got destroyed in the ice storm. So that'll still be out there, but it'll get the contractor out and get their maintenance bond and all their warranties running on that part, the biggest bulk of it. So it's like 96% of the project.
With the remaining 4% specifically designated, so we know what that is.
It is, yes, sir.
Other questions, comments? All right, any further discussion? It's been moved by Bob Nalen that we approve it, seconded by Zane Boatright. Is there further discussion? If not, cast your vote. The proposal is passed. That brings us to item G.
Item G is recommend approval of amendment number 10 and acceptance of project M3-S005, contract for purchase of MAPS 3 modern streetcars, Wards 6 and 7. So this is the final acceptance of the streetcars. It has been a while since we started the streetcar system, but there was a lot of work that still was going on behind the scenes, wrapping up some loose ends and then some negotiations with the vendor is why we're just now getting here with a final acceptance. So you'll see in the amendment that there's 4 items here specifically. The automatic pantograph lowering system credit. So there were some costs the city incurred because of some delays in getting that project wrapped up. So we're going to get a credit of $90,000. There was some issues with the catenary system, which is the piece that comes up and touches the cable up there. As it came up, there were some arcing problems and could have reduced the life of the wire a little bit, so we got $11,000 credit on that. There was an issue with when they were doing some work with the cars that a back feed, basically a short circuit kind of, came back and damaged some equipment. They've agreed to pay for all of that equipment repair, which was the $18,406. And then there were some special tools that were in the contract, and the special tools that were specified are just really not available. They have to be made, and we're not able to do those. So rather than continue to wait on the vendor to try and get that done, we're getting a credit of $41,000, and Embark will get those done as they need those. So we're ready to wrap this up. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer those.
Questions or comments? All right, it's been moved by Nathaniel Harding that we approve this, seconded by Zane Boatright. Is there further discussion? Cast your ballot. It is passed unanimously. That brings us then to item 5. Is there any new business, David, that you have for us?
We don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Any member of the MAPS Advisory Board have new business they'd like to take up today? Okay, that brings us to item 6 then, the Advisory Board Subcommittee reports. We've noted that there have been several actions by the subcommittee. Is there any subcommittee that wants to make an additional report or comment today? Hearing none. That then brings us, David, to your update and status, item 7 on the agenda.
First thing I want to start off with is the convention center. Because of the pandemic and issues like that, we had to postpone the ribbon cutting, but the convention center is complete. It is usable. The operator has moved in. They are operating the facility. What still remains over there is what we call punch list items, which is paint smudges here and there, and this needs to be fixed and that needs to be fixed. But for all practical purposes, the facility is up and ready to go. Very happy the way that project turned out. We talked about the work at the river, still ongoing. Lower Park is well under construction, except for today and yesterday. It slowed us down a little bit, but they're down there. If you go by there, you see a lot of dirt work and clearing and work going on there. And then with the wellness centers, we'll get started on those. We've got Wellness Center 3 out for bid right now. We had pre-bid meeting today, and that's where they can gather, contractors can gather and ask questions if they want to. I believe we had somewhere between 10 and 15 general contractors at that meeting, which is always good news. So a lot of work continues and a lot still left.
Any questions for David?
David, I know this isn't your bailiwick, but I understand North Care has rescinded their operating agreement or backed out of their operating agreement on Senior Center 2. Do you know what the status of that is? Is somebody else in there, or what's going to happen?
I do not. I think North Care is still there, and Parks is working with them to see if they can work that out. Parks is the contract administrator for the wellness center. So other than that, I don't know. They have given notice.
What are our options if the operator doesn't
Um,
continue? Is that somebody else's worry? We built it, but
That's, yes, sir. The Parks Department administrates that contract. If the current operator chooses to exercise their right to get out of the contract, then I would assume we'd have to look at another operator or assume that role.
Bob?
I just had a question on the convention center. Do we have any conventions lined up at some point? Is there an estimated time when we really could use the center?
I can't tell you exactly when, but because the Cox Center changed in its function with the film studio, they moved whatever events were planned there to the new convention center sooner than what we'd expected. And I believe right after the first of the year, they'll start having some smaller events. I don't know about conventions, but there are some events going on. I do want to tell you all, this group, that what I told the Convention Center Subcommittee, the city was granted some CARES funds. We were able to use those CARE funds to help mitigate COVID issues at the Convention Center. And City Council approved a contract to buy 10 of these machines. They call them robots, but I hesitate to call them robots because they don't move around like a robot necessarily. But they are, for lack of a better term right now, ultraviolet light, a special ultraviolet light that can be put in spaces and within 10 to 15 minutes kill all the pathogens, viruses, bacteria, and things on the hard surfaces, touch surfaces. So they can, for instance, put it in a bathroom, turn it on, and in 10 minutes, all the visible surfaces would be disinfected. So we hope that will help people's confidence in using the convention center. So we were able to purchase that through CARES funds.
Who's generally responsible for COVID mitigation at the convention center? Is it the organizer of the event, or is it the operator of the convention center?
It's the operator.
Okay.
Yeah. But we hope that something like this would give them more confidence and get more events in there and make them more successful.
Operator hadn't arranged for vaccines for anyone coming into the
don't know.
convention center yet, so
I don't know.
be nice.
Well, there's really great news about the vaccine. If you're over 65, you're way up on the list.
I'll see you there,
Sorry,
Tom.
Nathaniel. I do, one thing I'd like for you just to make sure I'm understanding, David. It just thrills my heart to hear you say the convention center is completed. And we, of course, all believe that we've completed that under its budget and that there will be money available for other things that the council's already decided to do some things with. Did we hit our target on being under the budget in a sufficient way?
Yes, sir, absolutely. We have.
Well, that's
Probably
really,
even more so. We're still looking at some wants and needs. We bought the bleachers that weren't an issue until the change of the Cox Center, and now they became an issue, and we've bought those on contract. So there's still some things that we're buying to help make sure the operator is successful. But yes, we will definitely meet our goal.
Well, that's great news for the whole MAPS 3 program.
Are we gonna have a ribbon cutting at some point, or?
We are, it'll be rescheduled probably sometime in March. We figure that'll give us time to get out of where we are, and have a great event then.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us then to item 8. Are there any other comments by the board or questions? Well, I want to add this. I really appreciate each one of you making the effort to be here today. I think we've all taken a great deal of pride in making sure that we had the appropriate citizen oversight to pass these matters on to the council. And that's been an important part of the process. And it's particularly difficult to get this done these days. But I appreciate the effort that each one of you made to get here today as we continue to kind of head down the home stretch on MAPS 3. So thank you very much for being here today. Any comments from staff?
No, sir.
Carol, everything, are we legally doing okay? Good. All right, are there citizens here that want to be heard today? Seeing none, then I declare that we move to item 9. And Bob Nealon has moved that we adjourn, seconded by Nathaniel Harding. Cast your vote. Unanimously approved. Thank you.
Merry
We're adjourned.
Christmas, everyone.